Oh, hello, everyone. Hello, Pistol. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, Marcelo. We are doing good today, Marcelo. How are you doing today?
Ta 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 ta. Oh,
And also, hello, Angela. Hope you enjoy your walk with the Wonder Canine. Have fun on that.
okay. Hi, everybody. Hi. Okay. Listen, I was pretty on time today.
You were.
I was pretty on time today. I was good. I was good. I'm proud of myself. Sorry. I needed a water.
Oh, no worries.
I needed a water. Oh. Hello, Mr. Dillon. 12.
Welcome. Oh, that's 012 to you.
Where's Mcgonagall? What do you mean, where's Mcgonagall? She's at Hogwarts.
I don't know.
Or are we requesting McGonagall voice right now? Maybe.
Maybe. You do need to. I think I know what he means.
Mm.
You haven't done the Mcgonagall clips.
Oh, the clips.
Yeah.
Oh, I dearly apologise for that. It's been kind of a crazy week.
I was
Oh,
gonna say we haven't seen you here before, so welcome.
welcome to the channel. Thank you for finding us.
It's always nice to see new faces.
It is. Yep, there he goes. The voice. Where's the voice? I'm sorry. It's been very busy.
You should do like a McGonagall cosplay.
I'll do it.
She kind of has this black sweater.
Yeah, I'm not wearing green.
Yeah.
If I were wearing green, it could kind of
Throw your hair up in a bun, get the glasses,
the
and
little square spectacles. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Transfiguration class.
you gotta do it with one of the cats on your lap.
Yeah, I do need one of the kitties. Parm pants, preferably.
Or we could just film one of the cats and then do your voiceover on top of it. McGonagall is a cat.
It would have to be parm pants.
Oh yeah, that's the cat she turns into, right?
Tabby.
Yeah.
Yeah, she a tabby.
And I just noticed the latency is on normal latency instead of ultra low latency. So if it seems like we're taking a minute to respond, we're not. It's just taking that long to get to the video.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
So you can set the stream latency. Normal latency lets you stream up to like 4K. But it takes like 20 to 30 seconds for what we're saying to process and for the people to see.
Gotcha.
Ultra low latency, you can only do like 1080p, but
You
it's only
respond
like
in more real
5
time.
to 10 seconds.
Okay.
And normally I have it on ultra low, but for whatever reason, I guess it must have got reset. Because I noticed when we like switched over from our start screen, it like took a hot minute. I was like, what? But turns out
Okay.
it's
Hi, Katie. Welcome. Wear a witch hat and you'll be set.
100%.
This is true. Did you see that thing I sent you? All the Harry
What?
Potter characters?
No.
I found this thing on Imager. It was an artist who did these depictions of all of the nope, not that one. All of the Harry Potter characters based on their book descriptions. And
That's cool.
They're really,
you should,
really good.
post that to the Discord.
I should.
Because they're like photorealistic.
They're photorealistic,
just
yeah.
like a
And
cartoony look.
Dudley's great. The only one that they didn't do was Harry.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
And
it was like almost every character but Harry.
And hello, Glenn. Yes, we are well, and we hope you are well as well.
Thank you very much for the super chat, Angela.
Yes, Angela, thank you so much. We appreciate it. So, because we do have some new people, I will say we are currently reading All the Young Dudes, which is a Harry Potter fan fiction.
Detailing the lives of the Marauders from their first year at Hogwarts all the way through.
Through the eyes of Remus Lupin.
And, I don't remember what I was going to say. Never mind. Oh, you're good. You're good. You just stick around as long as you want to or whatever. You do you.
The live stream will be here whenever you want to come back and watch it.
Absolutely. Pick up whatever you missed. Yeah. And last time on All the Young Dudes, Lupin mowed the lawn.
No, he did not mow the lawn. No. Stop that.
I know. Order of the Phoenix Illustrated is coming out this October.
Mm-hmm.
So excited. That's
why I need to finish up the video of A World of Ice and Fire. And then I think we're going to start doing the Jim K. Harry Potter books.
I know, we have to get the rest of them.
Reviews where we kind of do like a little flip through and our thoughts on them. We have the first one. We need to get the rest. But we want to get all of those out before Order of the Phoenix comes out.
So we can do Order of the Phoenix when it does come out.
Yeah, like release day.
Oh, there we go.
Because I haven't actually even looked through the Jim K. illustrated versions yet. I have no idea what they look like.
Oh my god, they're amazing. They're amazing.
I'm assuming they probably go for that photorealistic look. Not very high detail.
They are, but there's some whimsy, and it's very illustrative, though.
Okay.
Like, there's photorealism is in the sense that they're portraits and this and that, but you can see, like, the pencil marks and the paint strokes and stuff in the artwork.
Okay. I was just curious because I know the Mina Lima editions went for a more cartoony route. So I figured they were doing that so that they weren't in direct competition, say, with...
Well, they also did they also did work on the films.
Mina Lima did?
Yeah. So they did, like, concept artwork for the films.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of what they do is based on, like, all those illustrations, a lot of them are based on the film depictions, with some exceptions.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the Jim K illustrations are just amazing. The portraits that he does are fantastic.
I'm excited to look through it.
His Dumbledore portrait is one of my favorites.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love his Dumbledore portrait.
Oh, hello, Vane. Welcome.
I love the Snape portrait, too. The Snape portrait's really good. Actually, there's a few Snape illustrations that I really, really like. There's another one of Hagrid's hut, like on the Hogwarts grounds. That's just beautiful.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to flip through.
Yeah, and I love how he draws Harry.
So yeah, we'll definitely.
I love how he draws Harry. Yeah, you gotta look through it, and we gotta get the rest of them.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, finishing up
World of Ice and Fire
this weekend, and then hopefully Jim K will be out by next weekend.
Yeah,
potentially.
Also,
if anyone was interested, pretty much done with the All the Young Dudes, like purely audio. I'm going back through, taking the live streams. I'm just taking the audio out and putting it together, cleaning it up, taking out some of the stops in our discussions, in case you want to just listen to that. So the first 10 chapters, which will be the first video, is pretty much done. I actually just need you to go through and reread a couple clips, and that should be up. Because I know some people wanted just the audio.
Hello, Ren.
Hi, Ren. Welcome.
Yeah, the greenhouses are pretty cool too. There's just so much good stuff.
Ooh, terrifying drawings. Talking like Basilisk and maybe Voldemort on the back of Quirrell's head. I could see how that could be really terrifying and like a realistic depiction.
One of the really dark ones is Voldemort's return to his body in Goblet of Fire. It's creepy. It's pretty dark and disturbing. It's good. It's good. Yeah. Yeah. Not that I have Goblet of Fire, but
You looked them up.
I did look at some.
You couldn't wait.
I couldn't wait. But it's pretty scary. The basilisk actually looks really cool in the Jim K books. It's definitely more of a snake. Like how it's supposed to be a big snake. It in the movie it looks almost, it's got very like a monster thing going on, but in the Jim K book it's much more a snake.
Now the question I have for you is, how do we want to start out this live stream? Do you want to read all the young dudes, or do you want to start off with maybe answering some comments?
We can answer some comments first. By the way, I have a question on how the frick do you do the character voices? My favorite is when you do Mad Eye and Lupin. I just kind of do it. I don't know. I just kind of do it how I hear them in my head.
My biggest thing is, how do you keep track of all the voices? Like, I'll read to Ramona at night, and well, right now we're reading Aliens Ate My Homework, and there's only like maybe 6 voices I have to do and keep track of, and sometimes I still forget them.
Maybe it's because I love Harry Potter that much. I don't know.
Maybe.
I know the character. I don't want to be arrogant and say I know the characters so well, but I've just read the characters so many times throughout my life that I just have them all in my brain how I think they sound. It just, I don't know. I don't have a method. I don't have anything. I just kind of do it. I wish I had a better answer than that, but I don't. I'm sorry.
Just pure talent. That's all it is.
Oh, jeez.
Hello, Z Beauty.
Also, I'm glad that Mcgonagall is a fan favorite, but I'm glad they like my Lupin and my Mad Eye.
The Mad Eye's great.
Not a lot of people,
Constant vigilance.
Constant vigilance.
That would be a great alarm, actually. Love for you to do that. I'd make it my alarm.
Constant vigilance.
Wake up. You need constant vigilance. Yeah, pretty much, Mike. She's just a natural.
Maybe.
It'd be interesting to see you actually research voice acting and stuff.
Oh, and do techniques and stuff. I could. Maybe it'd make it better.
Yeah.
I know that it's.
You could be the next Alan Tudyk, doing all the animal noises for Disney.
I would do that. I'm not very good at animal noises, though. I don't think. I can do cat noises. I think that's really about it. That's. I don't do animal noises. Sorry.
Chicken just. See? $1 million contract right there.
I do think I do a pretty good chimpanzee or ape, whatever. I think my ape is pretty solid.
I think everyone did. Anyone who's seen Tarzan, because they always tried to mimic Tarzan. Do the Jane thing.
I know, but I think I do a good chimpanzee scream too.
That might be a little much right now.
It might be a little much right now, but I'm just saying I think I could do it. You do good crow noises.
That's true.
Come on! Snow! Mormont's bird is one of my favorite characters in A Song of Ice and Fire.
Is he?
He is. I love that burb. He's great.
Why?
Because he's ridiculous. I love him. He's fantastic. He's wild. Um, it is really hard to keep track of the voices for Game of Thrones, though, because I'm pretty sure as we've read through it, and there's been a character who shows up in one chapter and then doesn't show up again, like until 30 chapters later. I have forgotten what they sounded like when I did their voice for like 5 minutes. So that's a thing.
I mean,
I like to think though, as far as the main characters go, I got them down. Just like Sir Cleos.
mhm.
I don't remember what I made him sound like the first time I read him. I don't. And so it might change every time. I don't know. The bird is great. So
Yeah, that's
I try to do the main characters though. And keep them consistent. I am sad that I can't read Robert anymore. He was a lot of fun.
Robert was great. He's like the Hagrid of
Game of Thrones.
yeah.
He just had some great one-liners, and I miss reading Robert.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, King Robert.
It wasn't the fact that Cersei killed a king; it's that she killed Robert of all the people. That's why we hate her. All right, so we did want to start out with answers.
Yeah, we can answer some comments. Oh my God, the Horcrux conversation.
I know. I feel like we just gotta. I didn't know whether we should or not.
Well, Lucas has to put in his 2 cents
Yeah.
because he always is joining our live streams and he missed that one.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for having to just he had to put it out there. So that's fine.
So yeah, he left a couple comments.
He did.
First one was James did not sacrifice himself. He attacked Voldy to give Lily time to fly. If this would have triggered the love magic, Lily would have been saved. Lily refused to step aside, not attacking like Harry does in the forest. He does not attack. This triggered the love magic.
I would agree.
100%.
I would agree.
I think at one point we made the comment that James kind of sacrificed himself too.
Yeah.
And
I think you said James.
He didn't like.
He didn't do what Lily did.
Sacrifice himself like Lily did, but he still sacrificed himself so Lily could, escape.
I know the Horcrux thing. So the next comment, he just Lucas basically in his next comment as far as the Horcruxes goes just reiterates everything that we were all saying as far as why Harry is in fact the unintended Horcrux.
Yeah. Which Harry was a Horcrux.
Yes.
So we're not going to get into it. But if you're sitting there wondering, what are you talking about? How do you not know that whatever? Go see our previous live stream. We had a big discussion on that, and it turned into a big thing.
It did. It became a thing. I got a little aggravated.
You got a lot of aggravated.
Well,
okay.
Anyway, I won't say anything else.
Why do they say wizardy thing? Why do they say wizardy before things? Wizardy law. It's just the law.
Oh, when they say wizardry law.
I guess I understand that, but at the same time, wizards tend to have different rules because they have different abilities.
Well, I think they say wizardry law because wizards have specific laws that don't pertain to muggles.
Yeah.
Muggles have, but at the same time, though...
Well, you have international laws, you have state laws, you have national laws.
I think the wizardry laws are just specific to the wizarding world, and, if you're a wizard and you commit a murder, you're still subject to muggle law because you've murdered someone.
Yeah.
Wizard, you know what I mean? I think it's just that separation of specific laws that are just wizarding laws.
Oh, Marcelo. So my internet handle is Biggs. My actual name is Evan. And this is Lextron, aka Alexis.
Hi. Voldy was going to kill James anyway, so no love magic. Lily had the choice because Snape asked Voldy to spare her. Yeah, that's true. He did tell her to step aside. I guess that was Voldemort trying not to kill her, right?
Yeah.
That's the extent of effort Voldemort was willing to make. No, don't. Stop. Don't do it.
I don't.
And then
wanna
Voldemort
kill
went
you.
back and said, I tried. I really tried. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah. It's like a kid playing with a stove. Don't do it. It's hot. I tried. Then they touch it.
Stephen Groff says, my daughter started ringing along as you read the series. For the last 2 books, she has gotten too excited to listen and just starts reading it out. Oh, it's sorry, guys. It's been so cool not only to relive the story, but see my daughter go from losing her place as she tried to keep up with you to her reading out loud while imitating your confidence. And my wife listened to the whole series for the first time as she feeds our baby. Thank you to both for doing these videos. You've been a part of some pretty cool moments in our family.
That is awesome. That actually really hits home because this past week, our daughter actually read her first book from cover to cover.
Start to finish by herself. Yeah.
Green Eggs and Ham, if anyone is interested.
Yes, Green Eggs and Ham, start to finish. First time ever reading a book on her own. Very exciting.
That comment, getting it in this moment, hits really hard because I understand like what a proud moment that is.
As a parent.
Yeah, as a parent, when they just start reading with confidence.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for sharing. This is why we do it. So that's awesome. We're so happy for you. What does this one say? It was my wand, officer, I swear. Let's see. Let's just scroll down a little further.
He was a bit two-faced. Great teacher. Yeah.
It was like he had eyes on the back of his head. People love your humor and your wit as we read these books.
Well, you're bringing all the talent. I figure I could bring some entertainment to it, you know?
Fair enough. He was a bit of a two-faced. I remember when you said that too. That was good. It was good.
Oh, hold on. I just want to see.
Oh. That was a long gap.
Yeah. So I just realized that Luna saying that lost stuff always seems to turn up in the end is a metaphor for how those we lose are never truly gone.
Also foreshadowing.
Also,
that's the very, very bottom. Also foreshadowing. That was a big pause.
Yeah.
Very true. Things we lose have a way of turning up to us in the end. Absolutely. It's definitely a metaphor for sure.
Yeah.
Luna's awesome.
Luna, for all of her craziness, is a very wise character.
She is. She's an old soul, I think, Luna. She knows a lot of things.
Yes. Even if she may confuse them sometimes.
Or believe in Rexperts.
Yes. Well, I mean, come on. We know those things are real.
All right, fair enough. It is known.
She was being viciously attacked by them at the wedding, and no one seemed to help.
Well, in Crumb's defense, he'd never heard of them before.
That's true.
So, Lisa Smith says, I found your videos for book 7 and loved it so much. Went to your page to listen to all the books in order. Love the voices you do for the characters and your theories on the books. So entertaining to listen to and always makes me laugh. I wish I found you when you made the videos to take part in the discussion on the books. Well, we always talk about the books, so you can hop into a live stream anytime. We always end up talking about the books.
This is true. Always.
Always. Speaking of, we're going to have to do the Snape stream at some point. Everyone took the poll.
Yeah.
Got to do the Snape
just
stream.
Leaving it open for a month. That way we can get a good number of people.
Fair enough.
So
Fair
it
enough.
would be not this coming week, but the next week after that, where we'll cut the poll and we'll start making the video and
do the Snape debate, the great Snape debate.
Yep.
Fair enough.
I just wanted to leave it open for a long enough time that anyone who wanted to contribute to that could.
I know some people wrote us a book.
I read most of them, but I think there's still a few comments.
I haven't. I've been kind of going through the other comments, so I haven't had a chance to look at all the Snape specific ones. I do not like them, Sam. I am. Oh man, just throwing it out here. If you haven't watched the Green Eggs and Ham show, you gotta watch it. It's not just for kids. It's good. It's entertaining. It's solidly good.
For anyone who read the book as a kid.
You gotta watch Green Eggs and Ham on Netflix. You have to.
I feel like I used to.
It's great.
I used to be kind of a movie critic and that sort of thing. And now that we have a kid, I'm just like, all I do is find shows that are good for both parents and kids.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't want to sit there like numbed out of my mind. I would like to be able to take something away from something. And Green Eggs and Ham is good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good jokes in there. Plus, Michael Douglas plays Guy M.I. He's great.
Yeah.
Sam I Am and Guy M.I. They're great.
All right, so Raphael says, I don't think Fox dies after the maturing period of a bird, where he dies as soon as he reaches adulthood. I think he lives a full lifespan and dies of old age, and that is why he looks so frail in the end. And when he reaches the end of a phoenix's lifespan, he is reborn. For example, harpy eagles take 4 to 6 years to reach adulthood, but can live for up to 35 years. Following that logic, Fox might live for a very, very long time if left alone if phoenixes, as mythical creatures, have longer lives before being reborn. This is very true. I really don't know the lifespan.
I don't
think
either.
I would have to go back and actually listen to that discussion to kind of find the context that he's writing this in. But I'm assuming he's the question about how long Fox lived.
Well, he's talking about Chapter 36, Order of the Phoenix, the only one he ever feared, which is the chapter where Dumbledore and Voldemort have their fight. And then I think Fox shows up somewhere in the chapter. I can't remember. But
okay.
Or Fox is... Either way, we might have just been talking about Fox in the end of the chapter or something. Although I do know that in book 2, Dumbledore says, when Harry goes to his office for the first time and Fox like explodes in flame, and Harry's like, Professor, your bird, I pity you had to see him on a burning day.
Yeah, so obviously it's happened multiple times.
Right, so unless a phoenix has an extremely short lifespan, I don't know. Questions.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I believe the first book came out the year the last book would have ended, so the books kind of act like a biography.
Oh.
The first book comes out in 1997.
Yep.
And Harry is a year old in 1980. Right? Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about? I'm pretty sure they mean like the first book. When? 97.
Right. I know, I'm trying to make sure that's right.
I know because we looked up the Horcrux thing. Harry is killed by Voldemort on like May 2nd, 1998. So the last book takes place in 97 and 98. So it would.
Yeah.
Kind of fit there.
Very nice. Very cool.
I just like Hermione in this chapter.
Chapter 29, Careers Advice. Order of the Phoenix. Is Hermione rude in this chapter?
Maybe.
She
Or
might
maybe
be.
she was just a know-it-all. I can't really
Well,
remember.
careers advice, they're like, there's a lot of shenanigans going on, and she's a prefect, so maybe she was just being very anal retentive about the rules.
I mean, that's Hermione in a
Well,
nutshell.
but Hermione spends a good chunk of book 5 trying to like keep Harry from going off the ledge and trying to keep him like trying to make him think rationally, and it doesn't work very well. But a lot of people think she comes off as like nitpicking and harping on
Nagging.
Harry throughout the book.
I mean, I could understand that. I could see it.
I think book 5 is the book where most people have the biggest issues with Hermione because she does that a lot with Harry.
I feel like this is a comment for you. I can say that the Half-Blood Prince film scene was heavier and the book was in depth. A lot was cut out, and this is the cave. So we're talking about getting the locket.
Chapter 26, The Cave, Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah.
I did not like the cave in the film because they cut out so much. The things that they cut out of the cave are what make the chapter so gut-wrenching and terrifying. The thing that gets me about the chapter is Harry's interactions with Dumbledore and how horrible the experience is for Dumbledore and the agony Harry is going through forcing him to drink the potion. All the discussion with Dumbledore leading up to getting into the cave, where Dumbledore's talking about the traces of magic and all these things. Harry's learning a lot from Dumbledore as they're going through the cave, and Harry tries a simple spell and it doesn't work, and he's like, that was a dumb idea, and Dumbledore's like, no, sometimes always start simple, it's good, there's just so much in that chapter that the film I didn't quite get it.
Didn't gel with you.
And I hated the gem like geometry stone stuff. The look of everything was I was just not feeling that.
Yeah, I mean,
and what was it?
I don't 100% remember it because
I think he has like a seashell thing or something that he's feeding it to him. No. Dumbledore conjures up a goblet like out of thin air. Like, yeah, that's a huge, like, ridiculous nitpick.
That is.
But
that's why I give these to you, because you love to nitpick those movies.
I do. I'll pick those movies apart all day long. I don't care.
No, Maddie, you rock. And glad you made it.
Yep. See, Katie will do it too. She's like, yep, book 6. It's the worst movie. It's the worst movie. We can rant about 6 all day. It is gray. The entire movie is gray. Where's the color? There's no color.
I need to rewatch 7 because after watching 6 just put such a bad taste in my mouth that I couldn't even barely watch 7.
You couldn't appreciate 7 for what it is, I guess.
Because we watched them straight through. Like, if I had some time in between the movies, I could have focused on it. So I need to rewatch 7.
6 is simultaneously so depressing and so fun and funny, and the whole movie is just bleh and gray. And there's some really fun, great moments in that book that you could have really had some popping, great stuff. Slughorn. Oh, come on. You could have really done some fun stuff with Slughorn.
Right, the movie looked like it took place in the DC universe.
It felt like a Batman movie. All of the love triangle stuff, like, I get that they tried to go the romantic comedy vibe with 6, but
it didn't work out.
It didn't work because you didn't...
Oh, I like that the movies are a short clip of the books. The movies are just the trailer for the books, basically.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
A very bad trailer.
Except for the first 2 movies. The first 2 movies are good. They're releasing... Chris Columbus is releasing a new director's cut of Sorcerer's Stone.
Really?
with lots of added stuff.
That will be fun to watch.
So, yeah. I'm curious to see how that goes.
But that was one where I was like, I thought the movie was okay. I would like to see a director's cut of like 3 onward.
Yeah. Well, first movie is the best movie. It arguably is the best movie. The best adapted movie.
Best adapted. I was gonna say, like, overall, I think the book was the first book on its own was very basic. I guess is the best word for it. Like, it was a good story and everything. There's nothing like stand out. And then it was kind of like 2 got a little bit better, and then 3 kind of just upped the ante a lot, and then the books just continually
got better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she wrote 1 to.
I feel like one, you could tell she played it very safe. It was like
just in case she didn't get the go ahead to write the rest of the books.
It was a solid story. It was a good book.
Yep.
But there weren't many risks taken, and it seemed like the second one she took a little bit more risk with it, and then 3rd and onward she was just like, I got this. I'm gonna do what I need to do to make this story what I want to make it, and that's.
Well, she also had the entire story planned out, start to finish.
Yeah.
All the way through 7.
I'm just saying.
But she didn't know she would get the
like that, so that
Well, she had to write the first one in a way that if she didn't get a contract to write the series, the book by itself would stand alone and be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yes, I heard Peeves will be in it. That's the thing.
Ooh.
Because they filmed scenes with Peeves, but they cut them.
Who played Peeves?
I don't remember that guy's name. He's a Katie sent me the link for the cut. He's a comedic actor or comedian or something. Some apparently relatively famous in the UK. I don't know who he is though.
Oh, okay.
I feel about Harry Potter the same way I feel about Lord of the Rings. They're too short.
Yeah.
I always want more. Always want more.
And Order of the Phoenix. Didn't you say Order of the Phoenix? No. You said Order of the Phoenix became. You appreciate it more this time, but still not your favorite, right?
No, Half-Blood Prince.
Oh, Half-Blood Prince.
Order of the Phoenix was my favorite for a very long time. Rick Mayall.
Okay.
That's the actor. See, I knew Katie would know. Like, I can't think of the guy's name. I don't know who he is. I know he's relatively famous. I know Katie sent me the link. I read the article, and I can't remember the guy's name, but I know Peeves is going to be in the cut.
We'll answer a few more comments, and then before we start reading some chapters of the Young Dude, I'll look him up, see if he looks familiar. Maybe I've seen him in some stuff.
All right, well, let me answer this comment by Jonathan Davis real quick. Your husband is a lucky man.
Facts.
If my wife read like you do, I would never read another book again, but would insist that she read every book for me. Thank you for doing this. As someone who's read and reread the books, seen all the movies, etc., it's been fun watching your husband figure stuff out for the first time. On top of that, I've said it on your other videos, but your reading is incredible. We'll be sad that Harry Potter is coming to an end, but might go back and listen to your version of the first 3 books after this. I also saw you have Game of Thrones and might jump on that. I am only more grateful that I've discovered this so much later so that I can binge to my heart's content. Oh, thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you for finding us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for appreciating my reading.
And we're glad we can be your next binge.
Right? This person just said, farewell, Aragog. Rest in peace,
so
Aragog.
Says so much.
Someone asked us to read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
And since we have some new people, we are thinking about doing it. And since it's a play, the way we think we're going to do it is that we're all going to be reading. And by all of us, I mean that she will be doing some of the voices, I will be doing some of the voices, and Noelle will be doing some of the voices. So we're just kind of figuring out a time where we can get together and do that. Because of the way it's written.
We want at least one more person in to read to kind of divvy up the characters a little bit.
Because of the way it's written like a screenplay.
It's literally a script, yeah.
For for it to come across the best it can be, I think that's the best way to do it. So that is actually something we are going to be working on. Just we got to get some of the pieces together for that to work.
Yeah. Oh, look, Maddie G. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Here's your comment. Pure awesomeness. I totally agree. I loved the movies, but felt let down because there were so many important details left out. Wish someone would make a movie that's completely true to the book where they include absolutely every tiny detail. I would totally watch an 8-hour Harry Potter movie. Thank you for another great read.
That's so funny because we were just talking about this basically.
Yeah.
And you said there's the director's cut. So that 8-hour Harry Potter movie might be happening.
Well, it's like all the people, all the Lord of the Rings fans, who talk about the 4-hour Lord of the Rings cuts, the director, the extended editions.
Mm-hmm.
And if Peter Jackson ever came out and said, like, I'm coming out with an extended edition and each movie's going to be 6 hours long, and everyone would just be like, yes, please do this. Like, I feel like Harry Potter fans are in the same boat, except Lord of the Rings got better movies.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings got good movies that were really true to the source material.
I think part of it was just that they lost some of the best actors. Like when you lose, I can't remember the actor's name, but Dumbledore.
Richard Harris. Yeah.
Like that.
That just
that
sucked.
was a big thing that brought down the movies.
They could have hired any other dude. They hired Michael Gambon. I don't know.
16-hour Harry Potter movie.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it all the time. 16-hour Order of the Phoenix? Yes, please.
What'd you do this weekend? I did nothing but watch Harry Potter. Oh, you got through all the movies? No, 1.5.
I'm gonna just skip through.
Because this is a comment that actually comes up quite a bit. In the beginning of this, it was when we first got Connie Bobans, and she loved to like sit on top of the bookshelf. And in the beginning, she like jumps down on my head.
Oh.
So yes, that was a cat that jumped on my head. Because I feel like at least once a month I see a comment.
Is that a cat jumped on your head?
It just fell on your head.
Yeah.
In case anyone knows, yes. A cat attacked me.
A cat attacked me. Molly is related to Sirius through marriage. Yep. I just love this comment right here. The Dothraki would love Buckbeak.
Oh, they would. No, they would probably say a horse is meant to be on the ground.
Oh, maybe it would freak him out that he could fly.
They don't like to go on boats.
Yeah.
Do you think they'd be okay with flying?
The poison water, isn't that what they call the ocean? The poison water? Yeah. Yeah, but it has a horses behind. I think they'd at least be intrigued.
Yeah, probably.
They'd probably be intrigued.
Marcelo says, I think Harry Potter movies are closer to the book plot. I think the earlier ones were. I think they stick to the plot fairly well. The only thing is that they
like in 4, they ruin the plot by not even giving you a mystery because they reveal the mystery in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
That's true. That one is a exception, but I think they do a pretty good job at sticking to the plot. It's just I don't think they did a good job picking and choosing what details they should leave in and what details they have to remove. Because obviously when you do a movie, you're going to have to take some things out unless you want to do like an 8-hour, 16-hour movie.
Right, and certain things in the books wouldn't translate very well into film. But you still have to include vital information that's going to drive the plot. They didn't do that.
Right.
They were going to cut
I think they did
They weren't even going to put Creature in the movies.
Yeah. They did a lot of things right, but I think there were some poor choices at what they left in the movies.
I mean, going into, say, 6 and 7, having not read the books, like if I was someone who just watched the movies and then I'm trying to watch someone who never read the books trying to watch the movies, I don't know as I would understand everything because so much stuff gets left out that I would be asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a bummer.
I love Mrs. Weasley, don't we all? She's more mother to Harry than Sirius's father, and he is my favorite character, but he sees James, not Harry. 100%. I think Sirius, I think he slowly starts realizing this, but he doesn't have the time to fully, like, complete his character arc and become a father, obviously. But 100%, I think Sirius, for the time that we see him, for the most part, just sees Harry as James. And you talked about this last time where he just doesn't have that maturity because he was locked up in Azkaban the whole time.
Yeah, he's just not emotionally mature enough to be a father figure in the sense that he should be.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone can disagree that
he's definitely more of Harry's friend than he is his a potential father figure. Although Harry does look up to him with kind of a father figure mentality. Like that's he's one of Harry's father figures. Harry has a lot of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sirius is much more of a friend. He's much more reckless. He's much more he advises Harry to do the more reckless thing rather than, and Mrs. Weasley does not. Mrs. Weasley wants to keep everyone safe and secure. And
Mrs. Weasley is like the ideal mother.
She is. She's
like
in a lot of ways.
She's like the unrealistically good mother.
Katie says, I think Sirius was trying to live vicariously through Harry.
Yeah.
I think that's a solid argument. Especially since he goes from one isolated situation in prison to then another isolated situation in the house. I think he's definitely living through Harry.
Yeah. I just want to say, Mr. Dillon, I agree that if Dan, Rupert, and Emma weren't there, it'd be different. At least Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint.
Emma can go away.
I think
she could not be Hermione and it'd be fine.
Anytime we have this conversation, I always say that they should do an animated series so that they can bring Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, or whoever in to still do the voices.
But they won't sound like kids.
Yeah, and not replace the characters. That might throw off some of the people who grew up with the original movies.
Yeah. Don't let Emma anywhere near Hermione, though. Just saying. She's... I also regret the House of Gaunt chapter not being included in the 6th movie. It needed to be there, and it wasn't. It really should have been. It's such an iconic chapter. I get on the House of Gaunt rant. Here I go. It's so good. Katie's feeling the same. Like, I think of book 6, I think of that chapter. It's so pivotal to Harry's understanding of who Voldemort is and where he comes from. Like, it's so important. That for them to leave that memory out specifically is an example of a really poor choice.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, we talk about this a lot. And I think you especially, I would definitely be down to do it too, but you especially should make a video where you go through the movie and talk about what was left out and whether or not it was a good choice.
I would do that.
I mean, I'm down to do it, but you seem to have a much stronger opinion on this subject than I do. Like certain things like House of Gaunt, I 100% back you. Like, I think it was a terrible decision to leave that out. But then there's like other little nitpicky things that you just get on. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
But first, we're going to do our Tea Time with Hagrid.
Tea Time with Hagrid first. Yep, got to do Tea Time with Hagrid first.
All right. One more comment,
Okay.
and then we'll read all the young dudes. So scroll down just a little bit. There you go. No,
What? Which comment do you want?
this
Oh,
tonight.
okay.
I think if Ned took the oath, he would feel honor bound to stay with the Night's Watch, regardless of who won the war, and if they offered him home back to him. It's just annoyingly
Who
who
he
he
is.
is. That's a tricky one. I don't know. I mean, Ned is. I mean, well, yeah, I think he would, just because you know how many people's heads he's taken off because they broke their oath to the Night's Watch? What a hypocrite would he be?
If he
He
just
just,
said, "All right, peace, I'm going back to Winterfell."
yeah.
I don't think he. Yeah,
Although, but then you argue that he was forced to take that oath under,
duress.
yeah, where he was right, he wasn't wrong. Like, if he was wrong about something and then had to take it, I think he would be honor bound to fulfill it.
But would his honor bound nature then, in his mind, would he think, well, this was I got forced into this, but I did take that oath, and now I must uphold it.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether he took the oath for the right reasons, the wrong reasons, corruption, forced into it, whatever, would he still sit there and go, well, I took the oath. I'm honor bound to now stay on the wall till my watch has ended.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks he would.
I think he would too.
I don't think he would want to, but I feel like he would suffer it.
Yeah.
And plus, if he did take the black and go up there,
I could see it though.
Rob would take Winterfell.
Yeah.
And Rob would never have gone to war. So Rob would be in Winterfell and things would probably be okay.
Probably.
Like, I think Ned would be okay staying on the wall knowing that Rob...
there was peace in the kingdom.
And that
his family was safe.
Yeah, and that Rob had Winterfell. It was secure. Sansa and Arya are back in Winterfell. Catelyn's there. Like, I think he would. Plus, like Benjen, he could come and visit.
Well, yeah.
So,
I guess it wouldn't be that
bad. And oh yeah, that's true. They give everyone a chance to leave before they take the oath.
Yeah, how long is it? I think there's like a 3-month period, and then everyone.
It's your 90-day probationary period.
Pretty much.
Before they keep you full time. Goodbye, Marcelo. It was nice to see you here.
Yes, goodbye. Oh, and Mr. Dillon says that Emma did a good job as Hermione for books 1 through 4. Again, I agree. I think she went downhill. I think she was a child actor who enjoyed acting and then later on discovered that, well, this isn't what I want to do. I really don't care. But she was Hermione Granger. I mean, you can't just back out of that deal.
I think, well, none of them were child actors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the exception of Daniel Radcliffe had been in a couple of things prior to Harry Potter, but for the most part, they were plucked off the street and without any prior experience. But
all I'm saying is,
that being said, I will counter that argument and say she was great in the first 2 movies, and after that, she was garbage.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
she was terrible in 3.
When you're...
She was just sucked from 3 onward. But I would agree. I don't think she wanted to be an actor anymore.
Yeah.
Or, she becomes very girly and feminine and pretty from 3 onward. Yeah. So maybe that was the issue too. Maybe she just didn't
relate to the character.
Right. Maybe she just wasn't she didn't feel like that was
Yeah.
Hermione anymore.
I
But
think
what's she
that
gonna do about it?
I think that would be a struggle that most people would find with actors and actresses when you have children that you have acting throughout a long period of time,
Mm-hmm.
where they're not gonna stay the same person, especially around that
Yeah.
age. Like you have no idea who you are.
Yeah,
You're in
you're
this changing phase where you're kind of
what
starting to
they're all like 10, 11 years
discover.
old
Yeah.
at that point. Tom Felton, I think, was like 13. He was like the oldest um cast member of
Mm-hmm.
as far as the kids, I think, in that age group. I think
Yeah.
and I think Emma Watson was the youngest. She was like 9 or 10 or something. Yes, Katie. Her eyebrows are distracting every time she spoke because she's doing this.
I don't think I ever noticed that, but
Oh, it's
now that you
awful.
point it out, if I go back and watch it, I'm probably gonna notice it nonstop.
There's this one scene. And I think it's in 4, and I hated it, and it still annoys me to this day, and I hate it. There is a scene. I think it's in movie 4. They're in the common room, and Harry and Ron get in an argument because they're fighting with each other still. And they leave or they storm off or something, and Hermione's like sitting on the couch in the common room, and she just goes, "Boys," and it fills me with rage. It's like a 5-second clip, and I hate it. It makes me so angry because it's so stupid. Because Hermione would not do that.
Boys. Yeah.
I hate it.
I'm never gonna be able to unsee it now, Katie.
Yeah, you're gonna... She doesn't really do it in the first 2. Like, the first 2 movies, it's really not... And then something happened in 3, and it's just like the dance of the caterpillars, like the whole time. It's terrible. Not that she has caterpillar eyebrows.
She control her eyebrows.
She doesn't have caterpillar eyebrows. It's not what I'm saying. She doesn't, but when she tells, it starts in 3.
There's
got to be somewhere.
There's probably like remixes and everything else where they're dancing to the beat.
I know that there's videos of Emilia Clarke's eyebrows.
Oh yeah, she does it too. Hers are less noticeable though, or at least
she doesn't do it in the show when she's acting. She does it when she's being interviewed in real life. Like when she's playing Dani, she doesn't do it. But when she's being interviewed, her eyebrows, man, they're crazy. But her eyebrows are like pretty thick. So maybe it's not as noticeable because they're thicker. I don't know. But Emilia Clarke does the same thing. And I have seen videos that are Emilia Clarke's wild eyebrows for 5 minutes straight. So there's gotta be Emma Watson eyebrow video footage out there somewhere.
Probably.
So yeah, I guess he's.
Yeah,
he was on Blackadder. I see that.
Rick Mail. Just to see if I've seen him in anything, and no. But 100% Emilia Clarke's eyebrows are. Yeah, I've seen that.
She does that stuff
too. Like a thing.
Yeah, only in interviews. She never did it when she was in Game of Thrones.
No, she does do it.
Does she?
Watch her when she's like speaking Dothraki. She tends to.
She does
do her eyebrows and.
Oh, I wonder if she does it when she speaks Valyrian, like later.
Maybe
if she speaks High Valyrian.
There's like the scene where
You
she's
just
talking.
did the Amelia Clark eyebrow thing.
I did?
The yeah. Well,
Um,
because you have thicker eyebrows like she does, and you just did it.
and maybe it's just the thing with thick eyebrows.
I don't know. I don't know. Either way.
Oh yes, please post it in the Discord.
I know. I'll have to post those Harry Potter portraits that I found.
Oh, all right.
Ooh.
We answered some comments. We're about an hour in. I think it's time for some All the Young Boots.
Let me find the latest chapter. Because I didn't do that.
Read a few chapters, and if we have time, we'll answer a few more comments to finish out. Oh, you didn't?
Did it stop snowing? I think it stopped snowing.
Yeah, I think so.
That's good.
That is good. I was kind of worried that our electricity was going to go out. Our power never goes out. Like the past couple of weeks, it's gone out like twice.
Yeah.
Not for long, but so that was our luck. It's snowing all day today, so our power flickered like 15 minutes before we were supposed to live stream. So it's like, swear if it goes out. So sad.
Yeah, that would have been pretty terrible. I'm just trying to see.
I was going to say, I've been going back and listening to the first one, so I can't really remember what chapter we ended on.
The last chapter was that Lily found out.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
About Lupin's condition, as it were.
Was that the last chapter? Oh no, the last chapter was he goes to Grant's flat, right? He goes to Grant's flat. That was the last chapter.
Yeah, and the Marauders come and find him.
Yeah.
Because Dumbledore can only buy them about 24 hours before they send the Ministry to come find him.
Yeah.
And you don't want the Ministry to come find him.
No, Harry already knows what happens when the Ministry comes find you.
Moody's on the case now.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, saying goodbye to Grant. Vane's in Syracuse.
Oh, hey.
Dude, you're like an hour 20 minutes away from us. What the heck? You're so close. All right. So, okay, here we go.
I'm waiting for one day we're going to run into someone who like watches our live streams or something.
That'd be great.
Right?
I'd love to meet one of our subscribers in person.
Right?
Be awesome. All right. Chapter 90. Oh, I thought you were going to get up for a minute.
I was going to. I'll be able to hear you. I'm just going
to get a drink. Chapter 94. Summer 1976. Part 2. The Potters. Content warning for homophobic slur, internalized homophobia. Got that out of the way. They caught the night bus back to the Potters. It was Remus's first experience of this bizarre wizard transport, but he was so fuzzy from lack of sleep and the remnants of the weed he'd found himself dozing off in the comfortable purple armchair. Sirius stayed a dog for the duration, but Remus refused to give him any extra points for this. James shook him awake once they arrived. It was late afternoon now. Remus stopped outside the front gate and looked at James nervously. "Will Dumbledore be in there?" "I think he's gone," James said reassuringly. Moody might have stopped by, though." "For me?" He's seeing Dad. Look, I didn't want to say anything on the bus, but it's been a bad summer, you know, for the war. We're losing." "Losing?" "Yeah. Let's talk about this inside. Padfoot." James clicked his fingers at the black dog. Instantly, Sirius transformed back into himself. Remus looked away at once. Still gorgeous, then. "You bastard! You bastard!" Inside, Mrs. Potter came running. "Remus!" She reached her arms up to pull him into a hug. I want to see
Maddie,
Oh,
this is All the Young Dudes. It's a Harry Potter fan fiction about the Marauders through Remus's point of view.
Euphemia! A voice barked from the living room. Oh, for goodness sake, Mrs. Potter muttered. She took a step back and looked Remus in the eye. What did Monty and I give you for Christmas in 1973? A chess set, Remus said quickly, eyeing the doorway Moody's voice had come through. It's him, Effie called, stretching her arms out once more and hugging him tightly as their height difference would allow. As tightly as their height difference would allow. We were all so worried about you, dear. I'm okay, Remus said, embarrassed. We thought you'd been... Oh, well, it doesn't bear thinking about. People go missing. Dark marks. I really don't... She looked very pale and washed out, as if she'd had a lot of bad news lately. Remus felt terrible for adding to her troubles. Never mind, she said briskly, smiling again. Something to eat? Or would you like a wash first? Albus sent your things. They're up in your usual room. My things? From the home, dear. Dumbledore sent them first thing this morning. Everything had happened so quickly. Was that really necessary? Moody appeared from the living room. He looked Remus up and down with one eye. The other he appeared to have injured recently. It was covered with a thick leather patch. The effect made him look more grizzled and terrifying than ever. Lupin, he nodded. A word. No, No, Alistair. Mrs. Potter seemed to have surprised everyone when she turned and placed herself between Remus and Moody. He's only just arrived, and look at him. He's clearly exhausted. This can wait till tomorrow. Effie, this is a matter of ministry. Oh, I don't give a toss, she tutted, shutting him up with a wag of her finger. He's only 16, he's not of age, and he's in my care. Remus. She turned round, her voice kind again. You just pop upstairs, eh? I'll have Gully send some food up, but you don't come down until you're quite ready. Remus blinked in amazement. Could it be that an adult actually wanted to leave him alone? That had to be a first. He had a new respect for Euphemia Potter. Thanks, he murmured, avoiding Moody's fierce gaze and edging past them, ignoring James and Sirius, heading straight for the stairs, climbing them as fast as his clunky hip would allow him. All of his things had been neatly tidied away into drawers and cupboards in his bedroom, as if he lived there. He wondered what it would be like, having a place like this to call home, a place with a private bedroom and a house elf and a mother. He took his wand out of his trunk and held it for a little while, just to feel it. What a day. Remus felt terrible about leaving Grant after he'd been so hospitable with the little he had. There were 3 empty bedrooms in the Potter's house. Grant would be sharing a mattress on the floor tonight. He sat on the bed and wished it wasn't so comfortable. He could easily sleep again, but he was hungry too and didn't want to miss Gully. As if by magic there was a soft knock on the door. Come in. James poked his head round. Hiya. I offered to bring the tray up. Hope you don't mind. Remus made a helpless gesture. James looked awkward. Can I come in? Okay. Can Padfoot? No. Okay. James disappeared, and Remus heard him whisper, Give him a bit of time, eh? Before reappearing and entering the room with a tray piled high with what looked like ham sandwiches. Mum suggested soup, he explained, setting in down on the bed. But I said you'd want something meaty. Cheers, Remus nodded, grabbing one of the rolls and stuffing it into his mouth. At least he didn't have to talk. How are you feeling? James asked, his eyes full of concern. Remus nodded, mouth full, to indicate that he felt perfectly fine. James nodded back. This is how it will be, Remus thought glumly, without Sirius to translate between us. James and Remus were very good friends. Best friends. They'd been alone together before, had private conversations and shared confidences, but somehow it wasn't the same. Sirius had always been the common denominator, who understood them both, bridging the gap, in a way. Look, James said, tell me to piss off if you want, and I'll let you rest, but I need to tell you something. It's important. Is it about Moody? Remus asked, swallowing. Yeah, James said. Yeah, he'll want to tell you, but Dad and I thought it should come from a friend first. He's here on ministry business, it sounds like, Remus said, carefully, wanting to understand everything so James didn't need to explain it. He's an aura, so... Has there been an attack? Yes. James looked like he was struggling to maintain eye contact, but he was brave, and he did what needed to be done. Actually, there have been a few this summer, and some people going missing, people on our side. Then, there was another attack last night, Remus. He put emphasis on this. Last night. The full moon. A werewolf, Remus breathed. James nodded, his mouth a grim straight line. Remus put down the sandwich. His stomach growled in protest, but that was just the wolf, wanting more than it deserved as usual. It would have to starve. I was at St. Edmund's, Remus said desperately. The whole time, locked up. Madame Pomfrey saw me. I can't have got out, look. He raised his shirt hurriedly to show James the long, raw gashes across his ribs. James winced and looked away. Remus remembered that James had rarely ever seen his scars. It was Sirius who'd always been so fascinated. I know, James said, once Remus had replaced his shirt. And Mum and Dad know. Dumbledore explained everything. He told Moody there was no way you had anything to do with anything. But he'll want to talk to you anyway. Did anyone get hurt? Yeah, a few deaths. Some muggles and a wizard family. Shit. Are you okay? I honestly don't have an answer for you, Prongs. Right. Sorry. How's your summer been? Remus asked, desperate to put off any more bad news. Good. Yeah, not bad. Well, the war's been... loads of flying. Mary was here for a bit too, to see Sirius. James stopped short. Sorry. How is Mary? Oh, fine. You know Mary. He sent her home this morning after we heard you were missing. It was his idea to go looking for you. He did nearly everything, even shouted at Dumbledore. I couldn't believe it. Okay, Remus said coldly. James frowned. Moony, he's so sorry. I've heard. He was a mess when he heard you were missing, and about the attacks, he thought all sorts of crazy things, that you'd been kidnapped or targeted or something. Can't you at least talk to him? He's miserable. I don't care how he feels, Remus lied. I don't want to talk to him. He's an idiot, James said. I'm the first to admit it. He doesn't bloody think, he just does whatever comes into his head. But, well, you have to remember his family, the way they treated him, the stuff at Christmas. I know what happened at Christmas, Remus snapped. I was there too, James. Yeah, I know, but... And I felt sorry for him then. I really did. I felt sorry for him when we were kids, and every time they hurt him, and when they kicked him out. I've spent a lot of time feeling so sorry for him, but this... He stopped. Tears would ruin everything. No tears. James was very quiet. I'll let you rest, he said, finally getting up to leave.
It is Batman vein.
I think I got you that shirt, didn't I?
You did.
Thursday, 12th of August, 1976. Remus didn't leave the room for the rest of the afternoon, except once to use the bathroom. It was no better than St. Edmund's, he thought self-pityingly. Better food, obviously, and magic, and quiet, but... Well, he still spent all his time trying to avoid everybody, didn't he? Moody was still in the house. He could smell him. Moody had a strange scent, a combination of very strong, powerful magic, heavy and metallic like iron, plus something else. Coal embers or charred wood. He would not leave until he spoke with Remus, so Remus stayed put. Sirius's scent was all too familiar, stronger in the house now that he called it home, permeating every room. He hadn't been moping by himself all summer, no matter what James said. Sirius had the Potters and Mary and his best friend, all telling him how wonderful and hard done by he was. Poor little rich boy. Probably hadn't missed Remus at all. Except James had said. No. Remus stiffened his resolve. Sirius had to pay, even if it was only in Remus's silence. The next day he went down for breakfast, more out of politeness towards his host than anything else. He tried his best to smile at James's mother and thank her as she served him a bowl of porridge, but scowled when Sirius pushed the jar of honey toward him. He ignored it, and for the first time in his life, ate his porridge unsweetened. It tasted crap. "We'll go to Diagon Alley, I think, today," Mrs. Potter said as the kettle boiled. "Your letters arrived this morning. Remus, I'm very sorry, but you'll have to stay here, dear. I'll pick up your bits." "I get my books second-hand," Remus said, flushing. "From the supply at Hogwarts. I've got no money." "Oh, well, I don't mind. I'm already sorting it for James and Sirius." "I'm paying you back," Sirius jumped in eagerly. "As soon as I'm 17, I promise." "I know, dear." Mrs. Potter patted Sirius's arm fondly. "I can't pay you back," Remus said, talking to Mrs. Potter, but glaring at Sirius through gritted teeth. "Even when I'm 17, I haven't gotten an inheritance." Sirius lowered his eyes, crestfallen. "Why can't Remus come, Mum?" James jumped in quickly. "He's never been before." "I'm afraid it's not very safe, love," Mrs. Potter sighed. "Dumbledore and Moody both agree. After the attack." Remus dropped his head into his hands. He saw his life unravelling before his eyes. It would always be this way. Places he couldn't go, things he couldn't afford, friends he couldn't speak to. When the war's over, you'll be a queer werewolf with a chip on your shoulder. That nasty voice returned. "Wait," James said suddenly. "Our letters arrived?" Remus looked up, confused. Mrs. Potter was smiling mischievously, her eyes twinkling. "My goodness," she said, pulling thick 3 envelopes from her pinafore. "It took you long to cotton on, and I'm very concerned about your OWL results." She handed each of the boys their letters, and they tore them open. Remus stared at the list of letters on the parchment. Weirdly, the thing that startled him most was his acceptable for potions. That was definitely Lily Evans's doing. History of magic, outstanding. Care of magical creatures, outstanding. Charms, outstanding. And the rest exceeds expectations. A flutter of excitement started up in his midriff. These were bloody good results. "Yes, Moony, you beauty!" James cheered, reading over his shoulder. How did you do?" Remus asked bashfully. James handed over his paper. He'd got almost entirely exceeds expectations and 2 outstandings, one in defense against the dark arts and the other in transfiguration. "Go and show your father," Mrs. Potter said, after kissing her son gleefully. Mr. Potter had not yet left his study, as far as Remus could tell. James took him a plate of toast, too. Sirius was looking at Remus across the table, biting his lip. "You did well, then?" he asked tentatively. Remus nodded curtly. "I'm pretty happy, yeah." He desperately wanted to know how Sirius had done, mostly to find out if he'd done better in history of magic. Luckily, he didn't need to ask. Sirius slid his parchment across the table. Remus craned his neck to look at it. They'd achieved exactly the same number of OWLs, in different subject. Sirius's outstanding grades had come in Transfiguration, Defense Against the Dark Arts, and, incredibly, Muggle Studies. Remus tried not to smile at this. Instead, he glanced up at Sirius coolly and said, "I beat you in history."
I'm not surprised that he did outstanding in Muggle Studies. Sirius is all about Muggle life.
I know, he loves it.
Yeah.
Mrs. Potter and the boys left shortly after breakfast, and Remus was alone. He went outside and... Oh, God!
What?
Oh, God!
What
I just had
happened?
the most ridiculous tickle just bubble up in my throat, and I was almost gonna cough.
Oh, okay.
It was crazy. It felt like a spider was crawling around in my throat.
You would think a spider was crawling around in your throat with that reaction.
Oh God.
Slugs coming up.
Into the garden and sat on the edge of the low patio wall, staring out at their acres of green open land. He pulled out his fags. Only 3 left. He could maybe go into town later and buy some. He had a bit of shrapnel in his back pocket. Too tall to steal these days. Lupin! Remus hoped his shoulders hadn't stiffened too visibly at the sound of that gruff voice. He turned slowly. All right, Moody. All right, Moody. He was glad to have the cigarette, something to hide behind. May I join ya? Remus shrugged. Moody sat down on the wall beside him. Lovely day. Lovely day. Yeah, terrific. No doubt the Potter boys spilled the beans on the werewolf attack. Remus nodded, appreciating Alistair's bluntness. Let's get this over with. Yep, he exhaled slowly, making a smoke ring. What do you want to ask me? You know I was locked up. I've spoken with Albus and Poppy. They both confirmed your whereabouts. Yippee, Remus said sarcastically. Moody gave him a stern look with his still functioning eye. We have suspects, though. One in particular, someone you might have heard of. Remus went cold. His hands began to shake. He pretended he was just flicking ash. Greyback? He asked, his voice colourless. Greyback, Moody confirmed. Remus stubbed out the cigarette and gripped the wall with both hands as if he might fall. I didn't know he was... I hadn't heard of him attacking anyone in a long time. I thought he was abroad somewhere. Been doing your research, have you? Moody said, a note of challenge in his voice. Can't say as I blame you, lad. I'd want to know everything I could. He's not tried to contact you, then? No. Remus was shocked. Why on earth? If you've done your research properly, and Dumbledore says you're clever, then you'll know Greyback has a particular penchant for children. Remus had to stop himself touching the ancient scar on his side. Even 11-year-old teeth. Those 11-year-old teeth marks. Never wondered why? He's a monster, Remus said firmly. He fumbled with his cigarette packet. He needed another one to keep steady. What he wouldn't give for a spliff. He is, Moody agreed. But he's got a motive, mad as it seems. We've reason to believe that he likes to turn kids young so he can show 'em up when they're old enough and strong enough to join him. Join him? In his mind, he's your father, Moody said, as if it were nothing. He'll want you to take up the family trade, as it were. That's disgusting. Remus stood up, practically shouting. It is, Moody said, unperturbed. But you need to be aware. Greyback hasn't been seen in Britain since the last person he turned. Here he gave Remus a very pointed look. But a wizarding family was killed last night, all except their youngest child, who was bitten, but survived. A dark mark has been cast above the house. He was definitely working with Voldemort then. Just brilliant. Is this why I can't go to Diagon Alley? It's best if you stay away from wizard-populated areas for a while, till we catch him. Hogwarts? Hogwarts is safe, Moody said, but not Hogsmeade. I'm asking Dumbledore to keep you away. Oh, okay. And no more running away. That was about something else. Remus sighed. Then he thought of something. What happened to the kid? The one that was bitten? He raised his cigarette to his lips and sucked, but realized he hadn't lit it. Moody snapped his fingers and it lighted immediately. At St. Mungo's, the aura said. Being treated. They'll be fine. Oh, will they? Remus could have laughed. He looked out across the fields again. It was such a beautiful day. Until the next full moon, I suppose. The right people got there in time. We'll do what we can. The right people. Remus wondered whether the right people had been responsible for his being carted off to St. Edmund's. We have a mutual friend, Moody said out of the blue. Remus frowned at him. Leo Ferox. Good man. Oh, right. How do you know him? We were at school together. Cross paths at work sometimes. And of course working for Dumbledore. I hear you and your pals are planning to join up yourselves. That right? Remus had the impression that Moody knew the answer to this and just wanted Remus to confirm it for himself. Yes, he nodded. I know I'm not James, but I'm not bad at dueling, and if I can help, I want to. If you're anything like your father, you'll be more than a help. Remus nodded glumly. How was he supposed to know whether he was anything like his father? What a stupid thing to say. Dunno about that, he said bitterly. I have a few limitations my father didn't have. Could look at it that way. Moody tilted his head. Could look at it another way. How many werewolves do you think we've got on our side? Remus frowned, as if Moody had sworn at him. Is that why Dumbledore kept him so close? Is that why he hadn't alerted the Ministry as soon as Remus had reported missing? He didn't know if that was better or worse. At least someone thought he might be useful.
Dumbledore not telling the full story and using someone for his own gains? I can't believe it.
I'm shocked.
Shocked. But not that shocked.
Not that shocked. Dumbledore.
Up to his old tricks again.
Yeah, I see that.
Using Remus as a weapon of mass destruction. Send in the werewolf units.
Oh, man. I wonder if, well...
It reminds me of Jurassic World, where they're trying to control the raptors. How are you going to control a werewolf? You know?
Well, in, what is it, 6 or whatever, in the later books, Lupin does infiltrate Greyback's, like, crew and tries to recruit werewolves for the Order of the Phoenix.
Oh, that's right, he does.
So he
it's
does
mentioned when he shows up at the house.
Yeah.
Like, where have you been? Yeah.
And he's doing werewolf insurgency.
That's true.
Stuff. So I wonder how that's gonna...
Right, yeah. What's the worst that's gonna happen? You've already been bit.
That's true. You're already a werewolf.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? They're gonna kill you? Voldemort will kill you. Like, meh.
Exactly. But way to give Greyback a less pedophilia vibe, though. Thankfully.
Oh well, that's mentioned in the books that he likes to recruit them later when they've grown up, but he's still...
The way he goes about saying it.
Oh, it's definitely creepy. It's definitely pedophilic.
I like him young.
Yeah. And he like licks his lips and all that stuff. He's gross.
Yeah, he is.
Easily probably the grossest Harry Potter character in my personal opinion.
Oh, hands down. I couldn't even begin to think of a Harry Potter character who's more disgusting
than Greyback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually thinking about it, though. I really don't think anyone comes close. I mean, Voldemort, yeah, you could say, because, well, you know, some of the stuff he does, but at the same time, he just kills people.
Yeah, but then he also has a secret serial killer hideout where he puts all the bodies of the people that he's killed and then he reanimates them, and Voldemort's creepy.
Well, yeah, but still. I mean,
especially depending on what theory you buy into how Horcruxes are made.
That's true. Pretty far behind, Maddie. We're on chapter, 90-something?
The next chapter is chapter 95.
So, yeah. That's halfway through. Right? There's 188.
Yeah.
So, we just hit the halfway point.
Yeah,
Halfway
we are
through
at
the
the
story.
halfway point. We are at the halfway point. Why do they downplay the wandless magic thing?
Oh, thank you. I caught that too. Yeah, Moody just snaps his fingers and his cigarette lights.
Oh.
Like, what? How do you do that? I mean, we know that the one group of wizards can do wandless magic.
Anyone can do
We
wandless
meet them
magic.
at well, anyone can, but there was like the group of people at the Quidditch Cup where they just don't use wands.
Yeah. I think it says on Pottermore that wands are very much like a European thing.
Okay.
And a lot of wizards in African countries do wandless magic.
Okay.
Because they feel that the wand is just kind of like a middleman, whereas the magic is it's more
It's like Thor in Ragnarok.
yeah.
Your hammer wasn't the source of your power. It was just there to control it, to concentrate it. So
And they do it. Katie's right. They do it in 6 too. Like they'd start learning things like wandless magic.
I thought they
non-verbal spells.
I thought they learned non-verbal. I don't remember them learning wandless, but
I think Snape talks
I've
about
also only
about learning wandless magic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not like arguing against you guys saying that because I've only gotten through the book once. I know you both read it many times, so go on, dude. I just don't remember it.
Yeah.
I remember the non-verbal.
Plus, there's just other kinds of magic that, like, I'm sure, Snape and Voldemort don't need a wand to do occlumency or legilimency.
Yeah.
So there's that. I think it's non-verbal spells. I don't know if it's wandless spells. Does Snape talk about not even needing your wand?
I don't think so.
I thought he mentions it. I know they talk about non-verbal spells.
Katie says it's non-verbal. Yeah.
I know African wizards don't use wands. That's like a thing.
I remember that. That was at the Quidditch Cup we learned about that.
But
because there was a group of wizards that were like doing magic with their hands and lighting their fire, which is their hands. Basically what Moody does, but I'm sure Moody as an Auror has to travel to all these places and he's probably picked up some things along the way, which is probably why he knows how to do wandless magic. And
Moody's just cool like that.
That's true.
He seems like the kind of person that would just want to learn those things.
Yeah. I mean, constant vigilance. What if your wand breaks during a mission?
Gotta be able to...
Do you just retreat? No. You gotta push forward.
Oh my god, that reminds me of the last few episodes of Attack on Titan that I've been watching.
Oh, really?
Eren Yeager keeps saying, I must just push forward. I must keep pushing forward.
Oh, there it is.
I have 1 episode left to watch.
We could also reference Game of Thrones, but if I look back, then I am lost.
Yes.
Daenerys.
Dany, yep. I have 1 episode left to watch. That's it. And then I'm done with the show. And then I will know how Attack on Titan ends. Sorry.
Oh, man, that would be terrible if someone in the chat just totally dropped the ending and ruined it for you right now.
No. Maybe they don't watch shit. Maybe they don't read it.
And yeah, Maddie, we're pretty far.
Yeah, we're very deep into the story. You can go through
all of our live streams. I believe it begins at number 33.
Was the first time we read all the young dudes?
Yeah. And like I said, I'm going to start uploading just
chapter chunks, so so people can catch up.
And 1 through 10 should be up pretty soon. I just need her to reread a couple of segments that
you said that earlier.
Crackled. Yeah, but some people might not have been here.
Okay,
that's all.
Fair enough.
I know I repeat myself a bit in the live streams, but that's because we have people coming in and out, and I can't remember who was here when I said what.
Fair enough. Do we have time for one more?
Oh yeah, we have time for one more. Then probably answer some comments, or even two if this isn't like that was a long chapter.
That was a really long chapter
for all the young dudes.
It was long.
A lot shorter than that.
Yeah, that was definitely a longer chapter. Chapter 95. Summer 1976. Part 3. Peace Talks.
Peace talks with who? Greyback? Voldemort? Either way, I don't think it's going to end up well.
Remus and Sirius.
Yeah, that actually makes more sense. All right, Mr. Dillon. Well, thanks for stopping by and staying up so late to hang out with us.
Yeah, thank you for coming by. We'll see you next time for sure. It wasn't easy for Remus to keep Sirius at a distance while he was staying with the Potters. The house was big enough that that didn't matter much in a family home, something Remus was only just learning. Mr. Potter gave Remus his space during the first couple of days, but after it was clear that Mrs. Potter gave Remus his space during the first couple of days, but after that it was clear that she had no idea of the rift between the Marauders and expected the three boys to spend all their time together as usual. As much as they were uncomfortable with this arrangement, for their own reasons, none of them wanted to disappoint or worry Euphemia. So an uneasy truce was struck, and Remus spent most of his time reading his book, sitting close enough to James and Sirius that it did not look suspicious. Grant had said it wouldn't always hurt, and though he hadn't had the full facts of the situation, Remus was starting to believe him. He still felt very angry towards Sirius, but it hurt less, as the final weeks of summer drained away in a flood of sunshine and blue skies. He was able, at least, to be civil, and Sirius seemed grateful. At any rate, he'd stopped trying to corner Remus into a conversation every 5 minutes. Besides, after his conversation with Moody, Remus had other things occupying his mind. For years now, he'd been labouring under the assumption that Greyback did not know him, that he would have the element of surprise in his corner. But now it seemed that Greyback might be looking for him too. He would not tell the Marauders this until he knew more. No use getting them worried. If Moody said that Hogwarts was safe, then Remus was inclined to believe him for now. The Potters clearly trusted him, and that would have to be enough. What was more, he knew Ferox. Remus had Ferox on his mind too. Once again, his old professor seemed like the safest option when it came to asking questions. He understood Remus's need to know more, even if he didn't know why exactly. And Remus didn't want to bother Mr. Potter when he seemed to have the weight of the world on his shoulders already. He would send an owl to Ferox as soon as he was back at school, and as soon as the dust had settled on his recent revelation. In the meantime, Peter came over every other day, and they went out on their brooms, or else lounged about on the lawn, smoking, listening to Sirius's record player, and sunbathing. Remus had turned a warm hazelnut brown all over, which made him look healthier than he ever had, and his hair bleached a shade fairer. On the penultimate day of the holidays, they were doing just this. It was too hot to move, and all four of them were lying on their backs, baking in the sun. Remus had positioned himself a little further away from the others, just to show Sirius he was not off the hook. Also because Sirius had an annoying habit of taking his shirt off, and Remus was trying not to notice. "So tell me again." Peter yawned up at the sun, arms behind his head. "What was the night bus like? I've always wanted to go on it." "Dream big, Petey," Sirius drawled. "It wasn't that great," James replied. "Can't wait until we can all apparate. Lessons start in January." "I'm going to be rubbish at it," Peter said, forlorn. "Desi's been reading the theory books. I can't get around it." "Well, it's better than relying on that stupid bus." James removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "It's fine for magical locations, but the driver kept getting lost on the way to St. Edmund's." Remus's stomach flipped. He really, really hated the idea that James and Sirius had been there. He felt as though they'd seen some private part of him he would have preferred to have kept hidden, like the first time he transformed in front of them. "I can't believe I missed that too," Peter sighed. "Were there loads of muggles? What was it like?" "Come on, Pete," James said. That's Mooney's home you're talking about." "It's fine," Remus said. I bet it's great, living with loads of other people your age, James said encouragingly. It was James's only greatest sorrow that he had growing. It was James's greatest sorrow that he'd grown up an only child. It's... Remus looked for the right word. It's noisy. Did you go inside? Padfoot did. Crawled under a hole in the back fence. Didn't go in the building, though, Sirius said, rolling onto his front. The muscles in his back moved smoothly under his skin, and Remus had to fight not to bite his lip. Some bitch started throwing stones at me. Matron, Remus confirmed. Must have been, Sirius nodded, obviously pleased at the attention. If she treats people the way she treats dogs, then I don't blame you for running away. It wasn't really about her, Remus said pointedly. It's lucky Prongs and Padfoot found you, though, eh, Moony? Peter smiled, blissfully ignorant. Otherwise you'd be lost in Muggle London. I wasn't, Remus said icily, putting his book down finally. I was with a friend. But James said... I said he was in a squat, Pete, not alone. He was with this Muggle chap. Sorry, Remus, I've forgotten his name. He didn't tell us his name, Sirius said out of nowhere. Remus sat up and squinted at him. Sirius was staring at him in a strange way, but it only brought Remus's hackles up. No, he replied. I didn't. He got to his feet. I'm going in, it's too hot. James, who'd sensed to have grasped that the conversation had taken an unpleasant turn, got up too. Yeah, you're right, Moony. Shall we go in for a bit, have a drink and do that washing up Mum wanted sorting? She'll be back soon. Mrs. Potter had left for the afternoon on an errand and Mr. Potter was at work. Gully was in the house somewhere, of course, but he never made his presence known unless summoned. The boys were pretty much alone. I'll go home if you're going to do chores, Peter grumbled, struggling to his own feet. I can do housework at mine. Cheer up, Wormy. James slapped him on his sweaty shoulder. There's jam tarts in the kitchen. You can have the marmalade one if you want. The four of them strolled back through the crisp, brittle lawn of the house, stopping at the shed so that Sirius and James could put their brooms away first. Peter went straight in for his tart, and Remus hung back on the patio. He sat on the low brick wall again and listened to James and Sirius's cheerful banter from inside his head. I ought to polish the handle again before I pack it away. Bloody hell, Prongs, you polish it twice a day already. It's called looking after your equipment, Black. I call it sexual frustration. Piss off. There was a scuffle and Remus could hear Sirius's gleeful cackling as the two boys wrestled. Wait till we're back at school and I can curse your bollocks off, James laughed. Don't you dare. Some of us use our bollocks. You tosser. I ought to... Oh shit, watch out. Ah, Sirius cried. Bugger, that hurt. They both staggered back out into the daylight, Sirius clutching his hand. What did you do? James asked, peering over. He paled upon seeing Sirius's hand and backed away. Sorry, mate, you know how I am with blood. Oh, it's really bleeding, too. Ugh, get away from me! What shall I do? Wait till your mum gets home? No choice. I don't know any healing spells. Oh, bloody hurts. Oh, for God's sake. Remus stood up, squinting. Let me see. Sirius and James both turned to look at him. Sirius's eyes flickered to James, then back to Remus before he walked over, hand outstretched. The cut was very deep, blood running in rivulets down Sirius's long white wrists. Remus swallowed. You need to clean that, it'll get infected. Hang on, I've got some stuff in my trunk. He led Sirius through the kitchen, upstairs to the first floor bathroom and turned on the cold tap. He had some TCP in his trunk left over from St. Edmund's, where he often had to look after his own scrapes when Madame Pomfrey wasn't round. He brought it, though, along with some cotton balls and gauze. Come here, he said, sitting on the edge of the bathtub and motioning that Sirius sit on the closed toilet seat. He obeyed, still holding his hand out warily. It was much cooler in the bathroom, reassuringly sterile, like the hospital wing. Remus found that very calming. Sirius was placid and docile, trusting Remus completely with watchful eyes, like a pet. What's that? he asked as Remus tipped some disinfectant onto the cotton. TCP, he said. It'll clean the wound. Is it Muggle stuff? I'm sure it'll work just the same. Remus raised an eyebrow. He took Sirius's wrist, gripping it more roughly than he needed to. His skin was hot from the sun. Remus could feel his pulse. It's going to sting, he said as he pressed down. Sirius flinched, and Remus was reminded of the time after the Christmas party they'd spent in the Potter's bathroom, piercing Sirius's ear. Will it hurt? Sirius had panicked at the last minute as Remus was poised with the pin. Well, we've numbed it a bit, yeah, but probably, yeah, Remus said matter-of-factly. Don't be such a girl. Be gentle with me, Moony. They'd both laughed, and Remus shook him fondly. Stay still, you big wuss. He finished cleaning the wound, then wrapped it in gauze, taping it neatly. Probably throb a bit, he explained. Meant to be tight. Stops the bleeding. Thanks, Moony. Any time. Remus went to get up, placing both hands on the cold porcelain of the tub. Sirius suddenly reached out and touched his arm. I'm sorry. I know, Remus replied. You've said. What I did. Sirius licked his lips nervously, still grasping Remus's arm as if it was the only thing keeping him in place. Don't. Remus frowned, his resolve weakening. But we ought to talk. We can't, Remus said simply. I can't anyway. There are no words for what you did to me. No. Sirius hung his head. You're right. He let go, but Remus didn't walk away, though he knew he ought to. Sirius ran his uninjured hand through his hair in frustration. I'm such an idiot, he said. Remus did not refute this. Sirius continued. It was a really good year, wasn't it? 5th year. Spending the moons together and the parties. Then I went and ballsed it all up. Well, Remus relented. I made some mistakes too. I made things were different after my birthday. What? Moony, no! Sirius's eyes widened. He looked so earnest and sincere that Remus wanted to forgive him anything in an instant. Remus held... I know I wasn't... You didn't do anything wrong. What happened on your birthday, it was... Remus held his breath while Sirius searched for the word. It was really brave, Sirius finished. Remus blinked. Brave? What on earth was that supposed to mean? Sirius saw his reaction and tried to cover his tracks. I just mean you shouldn't worry about it. That didn't change anything, okay? Okay. Remus looked down then, feeling braver, looked up again. We never talked about that. You're my best friend, Remus. Sirius, please. And I know what I did. There aren't words, no, so I'll shut up and I'll do actions instead, okay? I'll prove I'm sorry every day. I swear I'll never do another stupid thing without thinking again. Remus gave him a small smile. Come on. Sirius smiled too, looking relieved. Yeah, okay, maybe a bit ambitious. I'll never do anything to hurt one of my friends ever again. How's that? Remus breathed in deeply. Forgiveness could be such a blessed relief. It's a start.
Hey. They made up, kind of.
And talked about it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Can definitely feel the sparks.
Yep, they're there. They're there and they're mutual, I think.
TCP smells terrible. TCP, is that like triple antibiotic?
I'm assuming it's some kind of antibiotic cream.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what it is.
Let's see.
Or maybe we call it something else here.
Well, I mean, triple antibiotic. That's what we call it here. So I'm assuming it's
yeah, but maybe thing. TCP is like a brand or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I know, finally. Took them long enough, didn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez. Although, Remus was very justifiably angry. It was really,
talked about
really
that.
terrible. So, like...
Remus could have gone to
Who's that? Oh,
Jackson. Jackson's just zoomies right now.
okay. Feisty
I
boy.
was gonna say Saint Mangos. No, he could have gone to Azkaban.
Yeah. Yeah. It's liquid and orange in color.
Ooh.
Maybe it's antiseptic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is orange, Jackson.
Hey, just like this boy.
Just like this boy.
Except he smells good. He actually smells like nothing, but...
Cats don't smell. They don't smell. I will say this till I die.
It would have been great if Peter Pettigrew turned into a cat. Would have been appropriate because Sirius is always chasing him.
It would have been, wouldn't it? It would have been.
Oh yeah, like iodine. Could be.
Yeah, okay.
Iodine's about that color.
Yeah, it's kind of that orange.
Well, it's like, like a super dark brown, but once you rub it on something...
It looks orange when you put it on there, yeah. Maybe there's iodine in TCP.
Maybe. I honestly thought you said PCP at first, and I was just going to be like, oh, well, it is the 70s.
This is... Yeah, right? They're about to have a magical adventure of some kind.
Come on, Sirius. I'll help you forget about that cut. 10 minutes from now, that cut is going to be talking to you.
It's gonna have teeth and a mouth. It's gonna be... Yeah, right. This was just such a good chapter.
It was.
We finally made up.
Not a whole lot happened, but we got some resolution.
We did.
Everyone made up. Everyone's friends again.
We're getting there. And I like that we're getting more serious and the war is really starting to really come into play. And this is going to be 6th year for them, which, just like Harry, 6th year is when it really gets real for everybody.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to be intense this year.
That's true. And wasn't this the same year when, like, Harry and Ron had that falling out? Or no, this was when Ron and Hermione had the falling out.
Ron and Hermione have the falling out, but this is also the year where Harry gets with Ginny.
Oh, so do you suspect that James is going to get with Lily?
Or maybe Remus and Sirius are going to get together.
Maybe. But it almost seems like Remus and Sirius are playing the parts of Ron and Hermione. And James is...
Harry?
Yeah. I don't know. They
either
all
way,
kind of blur together. But
someone's getting together. Someone's getting together in this year, 6th year. Someone's getting together. It's gonna be the main characters. Yeah. Something's gonna happen. Because we're paralleling the books hard, so we're gonna get some. It's gonna happen. I think.
I think so too.
It's my guess. It's my prediction.
I do think we have time for one more.
Yeah, because we wanted to.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit longer today.
Hang on. I just want to see if it's still snowing.
Okay.
Because I thought I just saw snow.
I mean, there's definitely snow. There's like a foot of snow out there. Just be quiet. Let Jackson's purrs. I don't know if this mic will pick it up, but Jackson just purring.
So it's still snowing, but it looks like the plow has been through.
Okay.
Again. Oh, Katie, I'll take a picture of what it's like outside because it's very snowy outside.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's the last snow of the season.
We just got hit with snow like twice in a week. Boom, boom, again. All right. So, shall we start 6th year?
Let's do it.
Let's see what's happening. I just realized this is kind of very Tudor Rose looking pattern.
Yeah.
Little Tyrell action going on today.
There you go.
Chapter 96. Oh my goodness. We are almost to chapter 100.
Yep.
Oh boy.
We're going to do a 100th chapter special.
We should. We should do a 100th chapter special.
96. This was 67. Oh, you know what's funny? So, by how many chapters we normally read, we'll probably hit chapter 100 on Livestream 69.
Nice. You can have some of our snow. We've gotten quite a bit. What? 9 inches, maybe? You said it was up to your shins. We've gotten quite a bit today. Almost a foot, even. Chapter 96. 6th year. September. Wednesday, 1st of September, 1976. This is the year, lads. This is the year it finally happens. 6 years of waiting and it all pays off. You can't be talking about what I think you're talking about. Remus raised an eyebrow over the top of his book. Oh, yes. James was beaming like a drunkard. Lily Evans is definitely going to realize she's mad about me. I can feel it. Are you sure, though? Sirius smirked. You've had these feelings before. I have, James said respectfully. You're quite right, Padfoot, but something is different this time. I can practically taste it. Love is very much in the air. Or lust, Remus murmured, flipping his page over. You're probably just picking up on the raging hormones coming off these idiots. He nodded at Sirius and Peter, who both kept glancing out of the train window, looking for their respective girlfriends. Who are you calling an idiot, Mooney? Sirius retorted. I can't help it if I drive women wild with desire. Sirius bloody Black, I could kill you! Mary's furious shriek could have shattered glass. Sirius practically leapt 2 feet off his seat. Remus gave a satisfied nod. Wild with something, anyway. James guffawed, nearly choking on the Bertie Bott's every flavour bean he'd been chewing. No one was happier about Remus and Sirius's reconciliation than James. He didn't say anything directly, but as soon as he recognised that his 2 best friends were no longer keeping each other at arm's length, he was grinning from ear to ear, back to his mischievous self, and therefore back to sighing over Lily Evans. Lily entered the carriage at this point, just behind Mary, who burst in like a whirlwind. Lily smiled at James and took the spare seat Lily smiled at Remus and took the spare seat beside him. He smiled back and they settled in to watch the show. What have I done? Sirius asked, affronted. You really don't know, do you? Mary stood with her hands on her hips, a look of disgust on her face. She looked spectacular when she was angry. Her gold hoop earrings jangled. Her coal-rimmed eyes were wide and fiery. Diagon Alley! She stamped her foot. Sirius's eyes widened. Bugger. Fuck you, Black! Mary turned and stormed back out. Sirius scrambled up to follow her down the corridor just as the train started moving. Oi, Mary, wait! I'm sorry! Remus turned to Lily. What did he do? Forgot her birthday, Lily grinned. Apparently they had a plan to meet in Diagon Alley, and she waited for 2 hours. Oh, bollocks, James slapped his forehead. I was supposed to remind him. You're as bad as each other, Lily snorted. Godric saved the girl stupid enough to marry any of you. Has anyone seen Desdemona? Peter asked distractedly. Lily shook her head and the boys shrugged. Peter got up. I'll see you later, he said, and wandered out of the carriage. Bloody hell, James said. What's happened to the Marauders? Oi, I'm here, Remus said, returning to his book. My only true friend, James smiled. You'll never leave me for a girl, will you, Moony? No chance, Remus replied, turning the page again. Wait, Lily yelped, grabbing Remus's shoulder. That's why they call you Moony! Remus gave her a sideways grin and nodded very slightly. Lily looked amazed. I can't believe I didn't work it out sooner. Hang on, James frowned. Worked what out? It's just an in-joke, right, Remus? Some stupid thing we came up with as kids. No big secret or any... Prongs? Remus shook his head, laughing. It's fine. She knows. James's hazel eyes widened and he stared at both of them. Lily giggled, her eyes teasing, and Remus suddenly saw exactly why she drove James so crazy. You're an idiot, Potter. But at least you can keep a secret. Well, of course. James straightened his back and puffed out his chest. We'll all do anything for Moony. Remus was really quite touched by that and had to raise his book to hide his face. He hoped Lily knew that James was being quite honest and not just showing off for her approval. The compartment door slid open and Marlene entered. She'd had her hair cut into a neat bob over the summer, like Mia Farrow. It was very becoming. She smiled and nodded at her friend sitting down next to James. Sirius and Mary are having a proper screaming match out there. It's mental. She looked at Lily, then James, then Remus. What have I missed? Mary forgave Sirius by the time they reached Hogwarts, on the promise that he would take her for a day in Hogsmeade to make up for it. Remus was pleased. He could, quite honestly say, without bitterness. He felt that Sirius had drawn a line under their kiss back in the Potter's bathroom, and it was up to him, Remus, to honour and respect that line. Sirius liked Mary. Remus would just have to get over it, that's all. And yes, fine, sometimes Remus fantasized about kissing the hollow of Sirius's collarbone, about tracing a line from the pit of his throat down to his navel. So what? That was purely Remus's problem. He'd have to focus his attentions elsewhere. Perhaps Christopher had become dazzlingly attractive over the summer. The feast and the sorting were as magnificent and reassuringly predictable as ever. The friends chatted about their new timetables. Lily was extremely disappointed to find out that Remus had chosen to drop potions, but he promised to keep giving her a run for her money and charms. Their summers, tactfully avoiding Mary's birthday, and the looming pressure of NEWTs. All blissfully normal, Remus thought to himself as they reached for their puddings and got up, yawning, ready for bed. I'm knackered, James said, stretching. Early night tonight, eh, Marlene? Practice first thing... Oh, no, you don't, Potter. Practice first thing... Oh, no, you don't, Potter. You're coming with me, Lily said sternly. He blinked as if he couldn't believe his luck. She frowned. We've got to lead the first years to bed. Have you already forgotten you're a prefect? Oh, shit, yeah, I mean, bugger, Whoops, Lily tutted, getting up. We'll work on your language, too. Come on. She looked at the others. Password's Password's Lionheart. They thanked her and went on ahead, leaving James behind, looking confused but grateful. Sirius flung himself into the largest, comfiest couch in the common room, taking up enough space for 3 people. Mary joined him with an indulgent smile, settling her little feet across his legs. Peter and Marlene started a game of chess on the carpet in front of the fire, and Remus picked up his book. Everything as it should be. Peacefully. In a chapter in, Sirius evidently grew bored. When's our first party, then? He asked the general room. Our first match is in November, Marlene said from the floor, her eyes on the game. You couldn't look away for a moment when you were playing Peter. No one knew how he did it. You can organise a victory party if you want, Black. That's ages away, Mary purred. Halloween, close to your birthday. We can do it after the feast. Remus's stomach rumbled at the mention of a feast. He put down his book. Wonder if there's time to go down to the kitchens. You can't possibly be hungry, Sirius arched an eyebrow. You had 3 helpings of pudding. You're probably right. Remus sighed and settled back down into the armchair. He shifted sideways, dangling his legs over the end, kicking off his dirty tennis shoes, and returned to his book. It was Dickens, the Pickwick Papers, and funny, but dry, so that you had to really focus in order to actually find the funny bits. Unfortunately, a full stomach, a long day, and a warm fireplace were not conducive to concentration, and Remus soon dozed off. It must have been only half an hour that had passed when Remus snapped awake at the sound of raucous laughter. "Stay still, Potter! I'm trying!" Remus blinked a few times, confused and groggy. He stared round to find Peter and Marlene rolling on the hearth, giggling, Mary standing next to Lily near the portrait hole, where James appeared to be performing a very complicated and vigorous Irish jig. Remus smiled sleepily and straightened up, his back sore from sleeping all folded up like a deck chair. He turned left just to get the gristle in his neck to pop, and caught Sirius watching him with a soft, unconscious smile. Remus raised an eyebrow, which seemed to break the spell, and Sirius blinked, then looked away quickly. "What happened?" Mary was asking, with her hands on her hips. "Silly Pratt was showing off as usual. His hex hit a suit of armour and backfired." Lily was half laughing, half trying to corner James long enough to perform the counter jinx. "Who are you trying to hex?" Sirius stood up now, crossing the room. "Bloody Mulciber," James said, a comical frown on his face as his legs flew about energetically beneath him. "Petrificus totalis," Sirius said with a yawn. James froze, still, and fell to the ground, stiff as a board. "Black," Lily sighed. "What?" Sirius grinned. "I was only trying to help." Remus giggled, still stretching. It was probably time for bed. He got up slowly as Sirius, Mary, and Lily stood over James, arguing over which spell to break first, the dancing one or the petrifying one, and Sirius was in favour of simply levitating him up to bed as he was. Just as Remus was heading in the direction of the boys' dormitory, he caught sight of Christopher. The fifth-year boy was coming down the stairs with a shiny new prefect's badge pinned proudly to his chest. Unfortunately, Christopher had not become incredibly good-looking over the summer. In fact, quite the opposite. He'd obviously been somewhere very hot and sunny over the summer, and his pale English skin was scorched bright red and peeling grotesquely at his nose. They stared at each other for a moment before Christopher looked at his feet, then walked away without a word. Remus felt the sting of guilt. He'd have to apologize at some point. Wednesday, 8th of September, 1976. I'm just trying to... Okay. I was trying to see who was talking in the next bit. Okay. With your OWLs now behind you and your NEWTs over a year away, do not fall into the trap of believing that this will be an easy year. Your 6th year lays the foundation for your advanced exams, and the work you will do will be pivotal in determining the opportunities available to you once you leave school. Remus fought not to yawn. He might have felt nervous, worried, spurred to action, and he had been, the first time he'd heard this speech. They were halfway through their first week of 6th year, and so far every teacher had performed some variation on this address. This morning the lecture was being given by Professor Flitwick, and therefore made mildly more interesting because of his squeaky little voice. Remus looked out the window. It was the full moon tonight, and he was restless. He had a horrible feeling about it, as well as the usual early twinges and surges of adrenaline. It was the first full moon he would be spending with the Marauders since that terrible night in June. It was the first full moon after the werewolf attack in August, since he'd run away from St. Edmund's. The murders played heavy on his mind. The family was called Mundy. Both parents had been Muggle-born. It had been in the papers, and Remus had read everything he could while he was still at the Potters. He searched high and low for any mention of Greyback, for a picture, a description, anything. If this man was after him, then he needed to be armed with information, but there was nothing. The press wasn't publishing any more than Moody had already told him. The letter to Ferox had been written for almost a week now. It was burning a hole in Remus's back pocket. He'd been waiting to get a chance to sneak off to the owlery on his own. Dear Professor Ferox. He knew that Ferox wasn't a professor anymore, but he didn't know what else to call him, and couldn't bring himself to address him as anything as familiar as Leo. I hope it's okay for me to write to you. I had a few questions, and I couldn't think of anyone else I might know. I spoke to Alistair Moody while I was staying with the Potters over the summer, and he said you're well. I hope you aren't anywhere too dangerous. Moody told me that the Mundy family were murdered by Greyback. He said that Greyback might try to find me and get me to join him. I hope you know I would never join that side. I do want to be prepared if he comes after me, though. Can you tell me anything useful? I don't even know what he looks like. I'm sorry to bother you with this, but you're the only person I can talk to, because you knew my dad, and you knew me. Thank you, Remus J. Lupin. He knew that you were supposed to end letters, yours sincerely, or yours faithfully, or something like that, but it seemed so silly and formal. He worried that Ferox might think he was trying too hard to seem grown up. Mooney, wakey, wakey! Sirius shook his shoulder. What? Remus looked up, blinking and dazed. Sirius was standing over him, and everyone else was packing up their things. Lesson's over, Dopey. Where'd you wander off to? Just distracted, Remus replied. He stood up and scooped up his own assortment of quills and parchment into his book bag, getting up. Sirius's face softened. He leaned in and said very low, Is it because of tonight? Are you nervous? Remus gave a sort of half shrug, half reassuring smile. No more than usual. Well, we've got a free now, Sirius said chirpily. He was very much enjoying his NEWT timetable, having dropped 4 subjects. Want to pop round the greenhouses? Nah, Remus grinned. It's okay. I've got to go to the owlery. Got a letter to post. Oh yeah, I'll come with you. James has another Poncy prefect meeting. I swear you never went to this many meetings. No, I sort of left it all up to Evans, to be honest. Remus smirked. Of course, I wasn't trying to impress her. Sirius laughed. Too bloody right. At least you know where your priorities are. Who's the letter for? Do you mind not asking? Remus looked down as they left the classroom, walking with a slightly longer stride than usual, so that Sirius would have to walk faster to keep up. It was a cheap trick, but there had to be some benefits to being tall. Oh, of course, mate, Sirius said respectfully. Don't mind me. I'm just bored, you know. He'd been extremely pliant lately, eager to supply Remus with any allowances he requested. Remus thought he could probably get away with snogging Mary on the Gryffindor dinner table with Sirius's blessing, the way that things were. They tramped up to the owlery quickly, but the moon waxing Remus's energy levels were through the roof, then going single file up the narrow winding staircase. The owlery was a beautiful place, by anyone's standards, provided you ignored the smell of bird shit, with the very best view of anywhere in the castle. It was a bright and airy space with high rafters filled with the soft sounds of roosting owls. Sirius dutifully hung back a respectful distance as Remus selected the sturdiest looking owl. He had no idea where Ferox was or how far away, and wanted a bird that was up to the job. Attached his letter and released it through the huge picture window. Sirius was leaning out the window on the opposite side, staring down at the forbidden forest. How far do you think we got last year? He said. Couple of miles, at least? At least, Remus agreed, joining him at the window. Think we could reach those mountains? There's caves, I bet. I used to quite fancy living in a cave when I was little. Me and Reg were going to run away from home and become cave dwellers.
Well, he did find out. There are caves.
And he does get to find out what it feels like to live in one.
It's not the greatest.
No, and also he mentioned his brother, and his brother dies in one.
Yeah, that's true too.
Weirdo, Remus shook his head. It'd be freezing. Well, you don't think about that stuff when you're 7, do you? I suppose. I never thought about running away, to be honest. Lots of boys actually did it, but the police normally brought them back. Matron used to say if one of us went missing, it was no skin off her nose. She still got paid at the end of the week. Mooney, that's... Remus laughed and moved away. Come on, let's get out of here. I'm hungry. They began a slightly slower descent down the spiral staircase, but had to stop halfway as they heard footsteps coming up. Remus's stomach sank when he saw it was Christopher. He'd recovered a bit from his sunburn, but still had a bit of a hot glow round his cheeks and nose. He froze when he saw Sirius and Remus just behind him. The two boys flattened themselves against the wall as best they could to let him past. Hi, Chris, he smiled politely. Hi, Christopher responded, not making eye contact. He was still definitely annoyed about the way Remus had spoken to him at the end of last term. Remus had been a bit worried about that, but he supposed he deserved a bit of cold shoulder. The silver pin gleamed on Chris's robes, and Remus tried not to wince. He could feel it in his teeth, a giddy, sick sensation. Well done on getting prefect, he said, trying to sound friendly and encouraging. Yeah, thanks, Christopher nodded. He still didn't look up exactly, but he sort of looked at the space over Remus's left shoulder and gave a weak smile as he passed. The close proximity to the silver was extremely unpleasant, and Remus's head swam, making him dizzy. As Christopher pushed past them both, Remus wobbled forward and had to grip Sirius's shoulder to keep balance. He had to concentrate on his breathing to avoid fainting altogether until Christopher had reached the owlery and barely noticed that Sirius had slipped a strong arm round his back for support. When he opened his eyes and the wooziness had passed, Remus thought it only must have been for a few seconds that they stood like that, clinging to each other in the shadowy stairway. Must stop getting stuck in confined spaces with him, the logical part of Remus's brain scolded. He realized he'd been gripping Sirius's shoulder really quite hard and let go quickly, stepping away and adjusting his robes. Sorry, he said. Took me by surprise. It's okay, Sirius smiled, turning and walking down the stairs again. Another reason to hate prefects, eh?
Yeah, I'm sure Sirius is real sorry that happened. Remus with his big, strong hands. Yeah, I noticed that too when you said yawn. Jackson yawned.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's funny. What a silly
he
boy.
knows.
What a silly boy. I see Lola came back too.
Yeah.
Because apparently Lola was at Maga's house.
Oh. Cats just want to run away. But yeah, I definitely see how James and Lily are going to get together.
It's going to happen.
He's the prefect now, so he's going to spend more time with her, and
she's going to actually get to know him.
Yep.
And realize...
just the two of them, where he's not trying to impress anyone or do anything.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, she's going to fall in love.
Yep.
And while James is all off with Lily being busy, that means that Sirius doesn't have a best friend anymore.
Nope. He's just going to have to hang out with Remus all the time.
Terrible.
Well.
And we can already see some...
he's got Mary.
Yeah, but things, I don't know, doesn't seem to be working out too well. You know, he forgot Mary's birthday. He's never forgotten Remus's birthday.
That's right. Never, ever forgot Remus's birthday.
Yeah.
That's true.
So there's that.
There is that. Oh, boy. Oh. There are a lot of students wearing silver badges. Dumbledore should have changed the material.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an oops on Dumbledore's part for sure.
I mean, I guess he doesn't want... But then people would ask questions.
Why not silver, Dumbledore?
Yeah, why is he changing silver now? Now that Remus became a prefect. And that sort of thing.
Did you hear that cry?
Yeah.
That was the cutest little cry I've ever heard.
Yeah, I think he didn't do it just because he was worried that it might draw attention to the situation. And
maybe
people might ask questions that may lead to Remus being caught.
That's true. That's true.
That's my theory.
Remus just has to deal with it.
Yeah.
He just got to deal with it.
Now, giving Remus a silver prefect's badge, that was a dick move.
That was a dick move on
You could have done something.
Yeah. He could have given him one out of a different material.
Yeah.
That could have definitely.
Give him like a nickel-plated one or something. You know?
Hello, Lola. Hello, Lola.
You can't tell me with the magic that they have, the technology, you can't do something about that.
Right, just give at least give Remus a different one. Yeah. Rude on Dumbledore's part.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Extremely rude.
Yeah. Oh, so much all the young dudes that we have digested today.
I know. I feel like a lot happened. Remus and Sirius have made up.
Uh-huh.
Lily and James are starting their little fire.
Yep. Ah, no. Oh, no.
What else has happened?
The war is not going well for the Order of the Phoenix.
No. Thought it was funny. Lily tells James that she knows about Remus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think she was a bit impressed with James's ability to protect his friends and all of that.
Like how much of the other stuff that he's done that seems like him being a-hole is actually him protecting his friends.
Right? Being there for his loved ones. Oh my god.
She's seeing he's great father material.
Yes, he is.
And he's got money.
And he's got
Win-win.
money. Win-win right there. Yeah, don't forget about the money.
Oh my god. Lola's up on our desk just
freaking out.
Being playful.
Yes. It's not now is not the time, Lola.
Go be playful down there. No, not Jackson. Be nice.
Oh my god, poor Lola.
I put her down and Jackson's there. Here, you go over on this side.
There. Go over there. It's okay.
Jackson and her do not get along. Oh. But yeah. So, I think we said we were going to end it at 2:30. So, we have 8 more minutes. Yeah. Answer a few more comments?
Sure, we can answer a few.
Yes, if
the next, just for everyone's information, the next chapter is called October. But yeah, we can read a few more.
All right.
Before we dip out.
All right, so let's see. Love this format of one reading, one listening, and then discussing with each other. The reading itself is phenomenal. I hope you don't mind me saying that I actually love to listen to your chit-chat more after each chapter. I can always read the book myself, but it's not easy to have a serious discussion about Harry Potter with other adults. Well, thank you. We're glad you enjoy
the conversations
afterwards.
And I get where they're coming from, trying to actually have a good Harry Potter conversation with other people. It's very few and far between where it's a revolving door of cats.
It really is sometimes.
Yes. Maybe Parm Pants will show up in 5 minutes. Who knows?
I think that's one of the best parts about this channel is
cats.
Well, I mean, all right, they're all right, but I think Bailey's better. But he hasn't been in like a video in a while. He's like laying in the other room.
Oh, I bet he's sleeping in Ramona's room.
Oh, that could be it. No, this gave us an outlet to come across a lot of people and like discuss Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's been great.
Books in general.
Yeah. So we're happy that you are enjoying both the books and the conversation.
Yes.
So God, your little Umbridge cough is just so spot on. It's great. I've gone back and listened to all the books. You do such an awesome job. That's from chapter 12, Magic is Might from Deathly Hallows. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brandy. I love doing Umbridge. So.
It just occurred to me that the owls can find anyone in the world. So if the Ministry of Magic got an owl to deliver a GPS tracker that could capture Sirius Black, or any wizard really, am I wrong? Wait. Find anyone in the world? I don't know if they can find... Well, I guess they kind of do.
Electronics don't work in highly magical places, though.
That's true, but Sirius Black wasn't in a highly magical. Well, when he was on the Hogwarts grounds, it wouldn't work.
Right.
But before that, when he was like with Harry and everything.
But the Shrieking Shack is also a highly magical place because it's in Hogsmeade, the only truly entirely wizarding town in Britain.
That's true.
I don't know if GPS would work. It would be a faulty system at best.
That's true. The GPS would just take you in a circle around Hogsmeade. Follows up saying, imagine getting a howler in the mail that yells, surprise, motherfucker. And at the very moment, hit wizards kick down your doors, bust through your window, and apparate all around you. If only the Ministry of Magic adopted some muggle technology, they'd become absolutely overpowered. That is actually hilarious to think of. Just the howler. Surprise, motherfucker!
I think the lack of technology is the only thing that keeps everybody on an even playing field.
Yeah. And I'm just picturing like Moody and the rest of the Aurors just like waiting outside of his house. No, he hasn't opened it yet. No, just wait. Trust me.
It's got to open the letter.
Not move in yet.
Well, it'd be Moody and Tonks and Dawlish.
Yeah, just all of them just sitting outside under the window in front of the door. Just, can we go? No, he's eating dinner. He hasn't opened his mail yet.
It depends on how powerful the Witcher Wizard is. Maybe they can use magic to hide themselves from the GPS.
That's true. Or the owls.
Or the owls.
I feel like I've had that question before about how the owls find everyone. Maybe they're like...
They're magic owls. They're not like normal owls.
Like certain animals can follow the magnetic field of the world.
The owls can follow
magic.
Maybe they can. Maybe the owls can follow someone's magic trace.
Yeah.
How Dumbledore says all magic leaves traces.
Man, that's how we'll explain it from now on. I like
that. There you go. Theory. That's a good one. Actually, it's pretty solid.
Let's see, 845 was definitely something Harry what?
Oh, something wasn't clear, maybe?
I don't know. Maybe. That's on. I'll have to go back and check. Order of the Phoenix is now one of my favorite.
Of all the others.
Why? Why not?
The crux.
Hagrid knows about the invisibility cloak because of countless times that they visited him.
It's got to be based off of something you said. The egg in the eye. That chapter. One of those great chapters.
Yeah.
One we talk about all the time. The egg in the eye, where Harry gets stuck in the step. Such a good one. All right, Maddie. Thank you for joining us. We will definitely see you next time on Thursday.
Yes, we will see you then. We only have a couple more minutes anyways.
Yeah, you're not really missing
this is
a whole
gonna
lot.
Be our last right here.
All right, our last comment.
Sure is all on the screen.
Discovered the live replays of this fanfic at the start of last week when my son came back COVID positive. Have since listened to all of the chapters you have and couldn't wait for more. I have since tested positive myself, so what better way to rest up than to keep reading? I'm currently reading AO3. AO3? I'm currently reading on AO3 and in 7th year. Oh, this has got... and knowing what's to come, I can already tell I'm going to be bawling my eyes out at the end of this. This writer is really incredible. I can't believe I put off reading it for so long. It's been on my to-read list for years.
Well, we're so glad we could offer it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. What a better way to spend some quarantine time than with some really awesome, all the young dudes.
Yes.
I'm glad.
I am sorry that your son got sick and then you got sick, but
yes.
I hope it all works out and you get better soon.
Yeah, we hope you feel better for sure.
And it wasn't on my reading list, but I mean, I'm glad I found it, and I agree. The author is an incredible writer.
Very good writer. I'm glad we just decided to take the plunge and go for it. The reputation precedes itself, that precedes it is definitely warranted. think they're normal owls, but in the story, owls are all magical. Those ones are just trained as owlets.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, that just still leaves questions for me because I never really understood how they got like ravens or pigeons to know where to fly.
Oh, like the messenger pigeons and
Yeah,
stuff during wars. I don't know a whole lot about that. I've never really looked into it. But
right?
ravens make sense though because they're smart. They're
I
super
know,
smart.
but they're traveling tens, if not hundreds of miles. How do they know where to go? And like the messenger pigeons that they used in like wars and stuff. Camps were moving around. Like how do you show them that this is where I want you to go?
I'm not sure how it works.
Do
It's
they
one thing about
maybe
animals I don't know.
maybe they take I mean, I could see how ravens work in Game of Thrones where they'll go to like King's Landing and take some ravens back to Winterfell and then those ravens know how to get to King's Landing or something,
Well, yeah.
and they'll find their way home.
Yeah.
But like the pigeon thing, I don't know.
I'd have to look into that more because yeah, I really am not sure how
It's a question
that
I've
works.
had and I've just neglected looking into it. There's probably a easy explanation about how to train them, but
Oh, I'm sure. There's a method. There's obviously a method.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
no worries.
Sorry, I keep yawning.
On that note, it is about that time.
Yeah, we are gonna have to sign off for now. We'll get to some more comments on another time, on another occasion.
Yep.
But thank you all for coming. Thank you all for listening to all the young dudes. And
As always, it's been a great live stream. We had a great time.
And we'll see you next Thursday. Ooh.